Good evening and good day, whatever time it is for you. I am thankful that you're here. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. If you were waiting for me to come in, I so appreciate you. Let me know who you are in the chat. Let me know how you found me if you haven't already. I'm so happy that you're here. And I am excited to talk about love today. I just realized that I forgot my headphones. So bear with me while I get those plugged in. I know the audio is not going to be as good if I don't plug these in. So, how's everybody doing this afternoon? I'm doing okay. I've got some things to share with you that have been a little challenging for me to deal with. Some things are incredibly sad, and others are um, just interesting, to say the very least. Okay, so hopefully you can hear me better now that I've got the headphones in. Artem, hey Artem, nice to see you. Always nice to see you in here. Thanks for getting here early. Come Alive Ministries says, here I am. Come Alive Ministries, I'm also so glad you're here. So I'm going to start with a little story to get things kicked off here. I cannot believe what I'm about to say right now, but I'm going to share it with y'all because I think it's important for me to be open and honest about what I'm experiencing right now. And then for y'all to share your thoughts, for y'all to have a space and a place to be able to share what it is that you're going through. I think it's very easy to talk about love, unconditional love in particular, when things are going well and you like everything is rainbows and butterflies and there's really no huge challenges, no obstacles to overcome. I'll start by saying, hey, Jill. Hey, nice to see you, Jill. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to start by saying I lost a friend last week. Someone who I saw daily, who lived in my building, and we lost him to a fentanyl overdose. And speaking of love, to me, which we'll get to, I'm going to get right to the point here and just say that self-love to me is the ultimate form of love. And I would even go as far as to say that self-love, aside from love of a higher power, is the most important form of love that exists. Now, that doesn't include my higher power, right? My higher power is my number one. And I know not everybody believes that way, and I totally respect that. And you're welcome here if we believe differently. I think too, this is a recovery channel, and it's super heavy when we lose someone to addiction, to a drug like fentanyl that is so unbelievably heavy. And I really want to encourage y'all, if y'all are struggling, tell somebody about it. Start the process of getting help, whether that's just whatever that means for you, whatever that means to you. I just want to encourage you, if you are struggling, not just with something as heavy as fentanyl, but with anything in life, and you want to move past it, I urge you to please ask for help. I'm here. I want to hear what you have to say. There's so many people in the world who care about you and who want to see you do well. So I just wanted to start this off with a tribute to the one that we lost last week. May he rest in peace. I hope he's in a better place now. So that wasn't actually the story that I wanted to share with y'all. The story is personal. And Kickin' Addiction says, much love, fam. Welcome in, Kickin' Addiction. It is always nice to see you here. You made it in on a Monday, right on. And Casey in the house. Hey, Casey. Hey, putting my girl to bed, but listening. I'm so sorry. Loss is hard, and that's something I've never admitted. 100%, Casey. And we've been losing people to fentanyl like wild. It's so sad. And again, to me, this is where the self-love piece comes into play. Today, we're going to be talking about what love is. I want to get the conversation started in the chat. Rev Rashim in the house. Hey, Rev, nice to see you. Rev says, at times, I struggle with trust issues. Any advice on helping me overcome it? Well, Rev, you know what? You are in luck because you are in the right place for us to be talking about this today. Trust, I think, is a part of love. And love, there's conditional love and then there's unconditional love. And I think that trust has to be a part of both forms. In terms of your question, Rev, I want to say hi to Rebecca. Hi, Rebecca. Nice to see you. Rebecca says, I'm sorry to hear about your loss. Love, hugs, and support to you all. Yeah, thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. So, Rev, back to your question. At times I struggle with trust issues. Any advice on helping me overcome it? Yes, Rev. I would say, first of all, be careful who you trust. That's my thought on it. Be careful who you trust. I think that trust is earned. And that's not to say that I don't trust people just based off meeting them. I use a lot of different components in terms of determining whether somebody can be trusted or not. I think if experience shows, if past behavior shows that a person or people are not trustworthy, then that's worth listening to. I'm guilty of not remembering or I'm guilty of forgetting when people have crossed a boundary or did me dirty and opened myself back up to these people only to be taken advantage of later on down the road or disrespected later on down the road. And then I'm surprised. And then I'm shocked, So I think people deserve to be trusted, but like right off the bat. And if we've got trust issues, it's likely because trust has been compromised in the past. I think it's important to remember that not everybody is the same as the people who have burned us in the past. But if someone in particular has burned you in the past, then on topic today of love, unconditional love is not without boundaries. And we'll get to that and my perspectives on that. I have a list, a good size list of things to touch on today. But my perspective is that unconditional love comes with boundaries. Some might argue that that doesn't make any sense because you can't put a condition on love and have it be unconditional. But I think that loving myself and loving my higher power is number one. And I cannot allow people to take advantage of me or hurt me or disrespect me and continue to show up and allow them to be a part of my life. And that's self-love. It's also love of my higher power because I'm taking care of his creation, its creation, whatever you want to call it. So to me, self-love, aside from love of my higher power, is the number one form. And so if you have trust issues, Rev, there's help for you out there. There's ways to process the trauma. I personally benefit greatly from working with a therapist. I just found out she's a PhD in Christian therapy, and I had no idea until just last week. And I really, really love my therapist. She has helped me so much to grow and to learn how to be the best version of me possible, which I think then is in service of my higher power. So, Rev, I hope that answers your question. I think everybody deserves trust to a point. Once a line's been crossed, it's not that we can't converse with these people anymore, but I think not allowing them to continue to walk on us is an important thing. Artem, I'm really curious to hear more of your thoughts on self-love. What does it have to do with loss? RIP to your friend. Yeah, good question, Artem. So for me personally, this whole, it's not just my friend that I've lost. I'm going to get into another story about some thing that happened that feels like a loss to me. Although now I feel, based on the actions that I've taken and focusing on self-love and a relationship with my higher power over the past few days, I've come to realize that there is a relationship to loss and self-love. Based on your question, it's helped me realize that I didn't actually make a link until I was like, you know what? I do see a link, because when we lose something, we naturally go through a process of grief. And it looks different for everybody. But I think in order to move through the process and to cope, for lack of a better term, I don't even know how I feel about that term these days. The word cope, it's like, I've used it in the past. That's off topic. So maybe we'll come back to that on another day. I'm just making a note of that. I think that there's a relationship between self-love and loss, because as a function of loss, as a function of going through the grief process, we have to love ourselves if we're going to get through it. I guess we could get through it without self-love, but I think it makes it a more enjoyable process, if I can say that. You know, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but to go through the process of grief and loss and to prioritize and put the responsibility on myself to take care of myself, that's self-love. And I think it's very important, if not critical, in the grief process. You know, it's really easy to get lost in what happened and what's gone now. And again, I've got a story for you. You're probably not going to believe it, but I'll tell you. I want to get to the comments, and then we'll get things started. Ben in the house. Ben, what's your name today, Ben? I'm looking forward to seeing what you change your name to today. Ben, bang on the drum, Turner. You've got the best names, Ben. Yeah, I tend to trust too easily. You and me both, Ben. I choose to overlook those things as well. Yeah, it's challenging sometimes to know who's trustworthy and who's not, because some people are really good at making you believe that they're your friends and then pulling rugs out from under you. It's tragic. Rebecca, Rev, I have trust issues too. I like the saying, the past behavior is the best indicator of future behavior. This helps me prepare myself. Rebecca, I so agree with you. I think the best indicator, exactly what you said, I couldn't have said it better myself. The best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. Absolutely. So proceed with caution if someone's burned you or done you wrong. Part of it for me, Rebecca says, is trusting people when I know I will be okay if they aren't trustworthy in this situation. I'm going to read that again. Part of it for me is trusting people when I know I will be okay if they aren't trustworthy in the situation. Well, that's an interesting comment, Rebecca. The way I'm interpreting this comment is that, and this goes back to self-love, I think, knowing that I'm going to be okay regardless of what other people's actions are. That's how I'm interpreting this right now, having done all the groundwork for this live stream and meditating, praying on what I perceive love to be. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what y'all's thoughts are on love. If you want to get that train started, I know I haven't really gotten into it yet, but if anybody cares to think at this point in time, or cares to share at this point in time what your perspective on love is, I'd be really interested to hear that. I think in the past, we have looked up definitions of things here, and I've really enjoyed doing that. I've got a couple Bible verses that I picked out. I also found a really great journal article on Psychology Today. Or not, it's not a journal article, it's an article that I found online. And if we have time and y'all are interested, I may read that. Let me know in the chat if you are interested in having me read parts of that article to you. I know being read to can sometimes be soothing and helpful, and sometimes it can be uninteresting and boring. So if you're interested later on, maybe towards the end, because I know some people like to fall asleep to this live stream, just let me know in the comments if you want to hear that article. Otherwise, I've got some personal thoughts of mine, a few Bible verses that I picked out about love. You probably know what's coming there. And I've got the definition that I found. And then I want to hear what y'all have to say. So I'd also be interested to hear if your perspective of love changes throughout the course of this, because my perspective on love has changed based on all the research that I've done in preparation for this stream. So that is why I'm prompting y'all. Tell me what you think love is at this moment in time, and then we'll check in later on to see if there's been any shifts. And of course, I'm looking forward to your comments along the way. Casey says, I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but then wonder why sometimes. LOL, I'm starting journaling again, but a Bible bullet journal. Well, that's interesting, Casey. I appreciate you sharing that with me. I've never heard of a Bible bullet journal before. Do you want to expand? I know you're taking care of your baby right now, but if you care to expand on that, I'm interested to hear more about that. And I personally think giving people the benefit of the doubt is a good practice, but there becomes a line where once it's crossed, like Rebecca said, I think that it's not something that can be recovered from per se. If we're to protect ourselves, that is. Ben, wow, that's pretty rare to find one who has that. I think you're talking about trust, Ben. Rebecca says it is hard, and I think it's a process. I agree with Tara on boundaries. I try to set those for myself. Sometimes I fail at it, but I remind myself tomorrow is a new day, and I can do better than, tomorrow. Yeah, it is a process. And I don't want to go as far as to say And also, if you're just joining us, welcome in. I'm so glad you're here. We're talking about love today, and we're just getting the ball rolling. I feel like this is going to be a great topic to talk about based on what I'm seeing already. So, if you're joining us for the first time, welcome in. Please feel free to let me know who you are, what you think about love at this point in time. What do you think it is? And we'll get to the comments here. I'm going to get caught up, and then I've got some content that I've prepped for you based around what love is. And I want to hear what you have to think, or what you have to think. I want to hear what you have to say along the way. Rebecca, I want to say something about your comment too. I think it's a process. I agree with you 100%. And it's not black and white. Like in the beginning, we were talking about trust and how it's a part of love. I view trust as a component of love. I don't think that once it's been compromised, that it's unreconcilable. You know what word I'm, if you know, you know what word I'm talking about. Irreconcilable, I think is what it is. It's situational. It just depends on the situation whether or not people can come back from whatever the situation may have been. And I think for me personally, this is why I need a higher power, to guide me through the situations that feel so uncomfortable that it's hard for me to think of reconciling. But it can be healthy to reconcile if the other party is also willing. But I mean, we can't make anybody reconcile who's not interested. Scott Len in the house, baby, don't hurt me. You know what? When I was doing my preparation work for this, that song, I think it came out in 1993 is what I saw, kept coming up, and I thought that was pretty funny. Kevin at Kick and Addiction says, Christian therapy. I've never heard of it put that way. I like that. Yeah, Kevin, I had never heard of Christian therapy before either, but my therapist literally has a PhD in it. If I'm remembering, what I'm pretty sure it's called Christian therapy. And that's not something I was looking for. I don't even know that I identify as a Christian per se anymore these days. My parents identify as something closest to Messianic Judaism. That's what they most closely identify with. And honestly, I don't identify with any particular religion, but I would say I'm most closely um, identifying these days with how my parents are believing. But I love the fact that my therapist has a background in faith-based therapy education. It's been really, really helpful in my work with her. And feel free, if you have certain perspectives about faith and what you believe, even if they're different from mine, feel free to let us know what those are. I respect different perspectives, and you are welcome here. I just want us to remember to respect one another's faiths and perspectives and beliefs, and to be nice to one another. Rev, I send you so much love and support. Yes, Rev, I echo what Rebecca just said. Okay, Artem, I have a really hard time understanding self-love. I use the term self-compassion sometimes, but I can't pretend to understand what self-love means. I don't get it. Well, you are in luck, Artem, because a lot of what I have prepared today is around self-love. And I think it's going to be shocking, to be frank, to hear what my thoughts are on self-love and how I have applied self-love to the past few days and what happened. It's all going to be shocking. Ben, I'm so happy you have a therapist who has a PhD and is a Christian. Well, Ben, I appreciate that very much. I think it is God's handiwork that he would, or universe, or whatever you want to call it. I heard someone say their name, they think the best name for God is I am. And I've really been thinking about that quite a bit. And we'll circle back to this in a little bit. I don't, I use the word God today because it's something that, or higher power. I like higher power too because it leaves a lot open for interpretation for other people. It leaves wiggle room for other people who maybe are in a different place than I am, which is totally okay. We're all at different places in our journey. And I respect where you're at in your journey. So if you've got another word for God or for your higher power, or if you don't have a higher power, I'm interested to know about that. Jill, being okay with my new normal. Jill, what is your new normal? Do you want to share? Artem, I already revealed my take on love last week, very unsuspensefully. Yeah, you were excited to get your thoughts out there, but Artem, if you could remind the crowd, the remind us what your thoughts are, that would be really helpful, just in case we have people here who don't recall, and I could use a reminder, just to be honest, about what your thoughts were on love. Kevin wants to know, has anybody heard from Gonzo? I haven't, Kevin. Casey, sorry that I typed it wrong the first time. Um, so star, another comment. I'm trying to do 100 things at once and be perfect, which is not normal. Casey, I think that you're not alone. I know a few mothers, and I think you're all always trying to do 100 things at once. And I'm sending lots of love. I'm so glad you're here listening. I don't want you to feel pressure to be commenting, but I'm glad you're here. Nasir in the house. Hey, Nasir. Nice to see you. Nasir says love and light, everybody. Yes, I love that. And Anne Marie Bliss is in the house. Hey, Tara. Hey, everyone. Nasir, your comment really is perfect. I think that's a comment that you make every time you come in here, or maybe I'm just imagining that, but it's perfect for today's topic, and I appreciate it. Anne Marie, I hope you're doing good. It's so nice to see you in here again tonight. I'm interested in any updates that you have too, Anne Marie, on what you shared with us last Wednesday, I believe it was. Jill says, take your time, Casey. Absolutely, take your time. Mr. McMurk. Hey, Luke, I think this is Luke. It's nice to see you, and if I'm misremembering, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure Mr. McMurk is Luke. And hey, back at you, Luke. Casey, okay. Bullet journaling is making a journal planner or whatever you want, really your own thing. So the Bible one for me is make trackers. What did I read in the Bible this week? Hard to explain, but YouTube can explain much better. That's where I learned. Okay, so she's saying look it up on YouTube. Right on, Casey. I think I get what you're saying. Like keeping track of what you've done by using bullet points is what I'm guessing. Kevin, 22 people, only 10 likes. Smash the like button, fam. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's so nice to have your support and to see you in here. Definitely smash that like button. That is something that I need to remember to say. Unless you don't like it, I mean, that's okay too, but it helps me out a lot when you smash either one of them. And I'm glad you're here. And thanks again, Kevin, for reminding me to say that. Rebecca, I'm really trying to work on self love. I am so much kinder to others than myself. I'm hardest on myself. I agree that self love is self compassion and probably so much more. Yeah, I agree with you, Rebecca. And I think Artem's onto something with the whole self compassion being equatable with self love. Tala in the house. Hey, Tala, it's welcome in. Welcome in, friend. Dr. Crispy's back in the house. Hey, Dr. Crispy, nice to see you. Welcome in. Scotland, 8 years sober, 0.04% self love learned. Scott, that is 8 years of hard work that you've been doing there. 0.04% of self love learned. I like that. That tells me that you had a lot of self love already. At least that's how I'd interpret it. Casey says, thanks, Jill. Hey, everyone. Mr. McMurk, which I believe is Luke, says, I never trusted any faith or had any faith in it until I spent enough time alone feeling my own energy to know something greater is embracing me and pours love into my soul. Luke, that is a beautiful thing. I think it's very well said. And I think it's fantastic that you experienced that for your own self. And that's where your own journey took you. What a beautiful thing. Jill, sober and I limp. Don't drive much. Well, I'm so glad to hear that you are sober today, Jill. That's fantastic. Uh, you are not alone. A lot of people limp and you don't drive much. That's okay. That's okay. I don't drive much lately either. I walk a lot of places. Luke, it's so hard to be nice to oneself, but as you catch yourself talking bad and making an effort to have compassion, it makes a huge difference. Yeah. So, Artem, I think a lot of people are vibing with your take on love and having it be about compassion. Compassion is a component of love. And I would even go as far as to say that compassion is a component of self love. I know, Artem, you said that you've got some, I don't want to call it a challenge, but I have to go back to your comment to see the terminology that you used. But you said that you were interested in people's take on self-love, and we're about to get to that. I'm just about caught up in the comments here. So Rebecca, it's easier for me to forgive others than myself. I was born and raised in a cult and now lean agnostic. I lean towards Buddhism and the belief we get what we give in this life. Rebecca, I love that you felt safe enough here to share your perspective. That just brings me so much joy. It breaks my heart that you fell victim or survivor, depending on how you look at it, to a cult. It's, I think, way more common than we think and can look all sorts of different ways. I think it's beautiful that you don't necessarily identify with anything, but that you see strengths in a certain perspective. That's how I feel too. I um, lean towards certain labels, but don't identify with any label in particular. Maybe that will change. But for now, I'm comfortable and happy and feel I'm being true to myself the way that I identify or don't identify as of right now. We all deserve to be loved, and knowing that for yourself is a game changer. Yes, Luke, I agree with you. Put your ego aside and embrace unconditional love, says Nasir. Nasir, I agree. It's not always easy to do. And I'm about to tell you a story of exactly something that I'm going through in my life that lines up with exactly your comment here. So stay tuned. Israel. Um, I hope I'm saying it right one way or the other. Says, hi everyone, first time on your live. Hey Israel, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome in. We are talking about love. And I think unconditional love is absolutely part of that conversation, even though some might put it in a different bucket. We're about to get to the content that I put together here regarding love. You just make the bullet journal your own. It could be a scrapbook, a planner, anything really. Look it up if you really want. It's pretty neat. And if you like art, I think you'll really like it. Well, thanks for sharing that, Casey. I could see multiple applications to the bullet journal and not just having it be for the Bible in particular, but like also having a bullet journal for different, and maybe I missed it. Maybe that is the thing, but like having a bullet journal for different areas of life as well, like live streams, for example, or volunteer work for another example, or work, for a different example. Kevin says, what's up, Israel? How you doing with Sublocade so far? Kevin wants to know. Luke says, until I started self-love, I think back and it looked like self-hate, but you can't have such a strong emotion for something you don't love. That's deep, Luke. I think that's right up our Thames alley. And what an interesting perspective to say that it's like two ends of the same stick. If there's self-love on one end, there's self-hate on the other. And so it's like, which one? I think we can probably all slide along that spectrum, but which one are you going to choose at the end of the day? Casey, it took me a long time to journal anything after being burned. I've been there too, Casey. I've kind of been in a dry spell with my journaling too. I journal a little bit, but mostly for brainstorming what's going to be talking points on the live streams, and that's been therapeutic to me. Luke, expectation leads to disappointment, but failures are where you learn, and an excellent chance to practice that self-compassion. Good point, Luke. Scott, I was wondering if I stay clean for the same reasons I always have, or if I'm too afraid to lose what I've earned. Speaking of putting away the medicinal 420 soon, right on, Scott. You are not alone. Some other people have recently expressed a desire to put away the 420, at least for now. And I'm glad you feel comfortable to share that with us. And you probably already know this, but I too have hung up the 420. And so if you ever need support in that area from someone who's been through it, I'm here for you, man. Good question. Kevin wants to know, Casey, are you talking about using street drugs while on the shot or taking subs while on the shot? Did I miss? Oh, I missed a comment. I missed Casey's comment. Good catch, Kevin. So Casey says, kicking addiction, which is Kevin. Sorry, have not been on your channel lately, but going to be talking to my sub doc soon about the shot. Any ideas on what happens if you use on it? I don't think my doc will know or tell me. Ooh, that's a heavy question, Casey. I'm interpreting this as, Casey, if you use street drugs on the shot. And yeah, Kevin has experience with that. So I'd be interested to hear what he has to say. I've listened to Kevin talk enough about it that I think Kevin would just advise against that, as would I. And for me personally, I would say, talk to your doctor about that. I think, um, if you're like that, the nature of the question that you ask suggests to me that you are considering doing that, or that there might be a chance that you might use on your meds. And that can be really dangerous. If your doc doesn't know that you're having cravings with your meds, then how can they help you? And I know they want to help you. Like, that's why they became a medical health professional, because they want to help. So the best thing I have done for myself, especially recently, is being honest with my medical care provider. My nurse practitioner has helped me out so much in the recent past and beyond. I mean, ever since I've met her, she's been helping me improve my life, helping me get back on track. So I'm interested to see what Kevin has. And I know you weren't asking me, Casey, you were asking Kevin. I think it would be a fantastic idea to talk to your medical care provider about the question that you have and explain to them why you're asking the question as well. Honesty goes a long way with medical care. Scott, love is so trippy to look at outside of my relationships. Um, Scott, do you mean romantic relationships? Because really, we're all in relationship. I think that's something I've been learning. It's like when I talk about wanting a relationship, it's like, well, I have a lot of relationships. And so I have what I've been asking for. Nasir, that's a very hard way, but it's the only one. Israel says, I've been feeling great so far. That's good news. Rebecca's sending Casey love and support. Me too. Okay, so it looks like Kevin is replying to Casey, and I'm so happy that that's the case. Thanks, Kevin. I think that I want to get to some of the content that I've prepared for you. I think I've spent long enough. I can't even believe it's already been 40 minutes, and I haven't even got to any of this yet. So I appreciate y'all sharing with me what some of your thoughts on love. And I've loved seeing some of the other things that have come up too, just as a function of the discussion and conversation happening. I love it, pun intended. So I wanted to start with unconditional love. And I wanted to also start by telling you a story. I promised you a story, and it's your jaw's going to hit the floor, just like it. I would imagine anyway. I would imagine your jaw's going to hit the floor, just like mine did. So this is what happened. I'm going to make a long story short, and just say that I think I'm the first person. I might be the first person on the face of the planet to get kicked out of a Bible study. I'm going to let that sink in. Yes, folks. I got kicked out of a Bible study last week, at the end of last week. Has anybody ever heard of this happening before? I'm going to see where I was at in the comments. I'm going to go back eventually and read all of these, but I just want to see what y'all have to say. Why, you might ask, did I get kicked out of the Bible study? The reason that was communicated to me was that my intentions seem to be out of alignment with what the goal of the Bible study is. So they want the Bible study to be available to people who are genuinely seeking Jesus Christ, which to me was, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. because why else would I engage with a Bible study if I wasn't genuinely seeking to improve my relationship with my higher power, aka Jesus Christ. So yeah, that happened last week. And yeah, Rebecca says, I'm sorry that happened to you. I've never heard of that happening before. Okay, so Come Alive Ministries, people get kicked out of Bible studies a lot, so you're not alone. Right on. I just can't, it's hard for me to believe why it happened. Um, yeah, that sounds like a no true Scotsman fallacy. I'm not privy to the no true Scotsman fallacy. What is that, Ben? I've never been to a Bible study. Is it online or in person? They hold the Bible study online, Kevin. Okay, Artem, so you're not allowed to study the Bible if you're skeptical of it, which I'm not skeptical of the Bible. I do wonder, like some people think it's historical, some people think it's all allegorical or allegory. I don't even know if allegorical is a word. Um, I need to study it more to make that decision for myself on what I personally believe. I don't believe that's grounds to get kicked out of a Bible study personally, but I mean, it's a free country, so it was just shocking to me. Um, so Artem says, so you're not allowed to study oh, I read that. You have already believed in it before you even read it. Laugh out loud. Yeah, well, good point, Artem. I've read a good portion of it. I've definitely studied the stories. I was raised in a Christian Catholic environment, kind of like oscillating between the two in my early childhood, and then moving to a Christian background. I've been baptized several times. And in my adulthood, um, we found out that my family has Jewish lineage. And so this rocked my boat quite a bit. And my family doesn't celebrate holidays anymore. They don't celebrate Valentine's Day coming up. So it's kind of funny that the topic of this live stream is what is love. Valentine's Day is on Wednesday. I did not do that on purpose. It just worked out that way. My family doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day, but to each their own. To each their own. We're all at different places in our journey, and wherever you're at in your journey, I respect it tremendously. So, Artem, to your point, yeah, I did take it on faith early in my life. These days, I would like to read it for myself to be able to answer questions that I have. Right, Rebecca. So Rebecca says, I don't understand why that happens. Is it because people are asking questions they don't like? I would be interested to know why that happens. I would think that being there is trying to learn. I agree with you, Rebecca, and it's hard for me to think that it would be related to anything other than asking questions. I mean, who gets kicked out of a Bible study? Like, what? I hear Come Alive Ministries saying that it happens all the time. I personally have never heard of that before, and I was dumbfounded. Artem, it does sound absurd to get kicked out of a Bible study. It seems very unchristlike. I agree with you, Artem. I think to keep anybody who wants to study the Word of God out of a Bible study is absolutely absurd. And I can look at it from that perspective now, but when it happened, I was just like, What? I was so overwhelmed with shock. I had to call someone. Hold on a second, Kevin. Casey, you took fentanyl 2 days ago? I love you unconditionally, girlfriend. I hope that's not what happened. Yeah, okay, Kevin, you're asking really good questions. I'm glad you're here. Wants to know the last time Casey took street drugs and how long you've been on the subs. Casey, I'm glad you're here, friend. I'm glad you're here. And Kevin, I really appreciate you asking the right questions. 2 days ago. Yeah, Kevin, what did you say or do before you got kicked out? Um, Nothing that deserves getting kicked out. I was asking, I was looking up in the studies, I was looking up the definitions of words, trying to understand things at a deeper level. I found things, I mean, I thought it was interesting that the first war in the Bible ever was over oil. It took some digging to find that out, but everybody thought that was interesting. I wasn't alone in that. Um, the reason that I was given was that my intentions, that my heart didn't seem to be in a good place in the study, which I respectfully disagree with. I don't think it's any person's place to judge a heart. That's my higher power's job. And that's what it says in the Bible, is that it's up to God to the Bible actually says, judge not by appearances, judge righteous judgment, is what it actually says. Straight Talker in the house. Hey, Straight Talker, nice to see you. Welcome in. We are talking about love, and I haven't even gotten to my content yet, but I had started. So thank you all for sharing your thoughts on getting kicked out of a Bible study. It feels good to have been honest about what I have been experiencing. Morrison says, I asked Tara to step out of the Bible study until she truly seeks and doesn't try to manipulate. So that's not what was said. But Morrison, I appreciate your honesty here. Your honesty is a strength here. Thank you for stepping up. Okay, so speak of the Bible study. Regardless of the condition, choosing love, regardless of the condition. I mean, the timing there was uncanny. And I choose love unconditionally, regardless of the condition. Now, unconditional love, as I mentioned before, my perspective is that unconditional love is different than having love without boundaries. And to me, I would say a boundary has absolutely been crossed because my intention would never be to manipulate anybody. I would never intentionally manipulate anybody. Thank you, Ben. Hey, Heather, welcome in. Nice to see you. Yeah, Kevin, I echo that. Please be careful with the fent, Casey. Morrison says, when I receive a discernment like this, it's not just BS. We have to truly open our eyes to the truth. What are you gaining right now talking about this publicly? Well, I'm gaining being honest and transparent with the people who showed up for me, Morrison. I mean, I didn't out you, I didn't bring up your name, but you outed yourself. So do not gaslight me and place the blame on me because I did not bring your name into this. Maddie in the house. Hey, Maddie, nice to see you. I'm never going to give you up, never going to let you down, never going to run you around and desert you. Thank you, Maddie. I needed that. I think we all needed that to lighten the mood a little bit. At least I did. Luke, feels like the world is finding a truer definition of love that is all inclusive and understanding. Yes, Luke, it does seem like that. Nispir, how to speak the truth, Tara. Yeah. This is it's my right to speak the truth here on this platform. Yep, Ben, she's speaking about a stressor in her life. Yep, because, and the reason, there is a purpose. Unconditional love is different than love without boundaries. Unconditional love can have boundaries. Just as I've practiced here. And if the dialogue continues, and if I am continued to be called a manipulator without any substantial evidence other than someone's preying on it, then I mean, I don't know what to tell you other than that's not okay. Yeah, Come Alive Ministry. She never mentioned your name, Mo, and I'd never have known it was you if you hadn't thrown yourself under the bus. Exactly. I it wasn't personal. I was saying, as a matter of fact, this is what happened. Right. And Artem, Mo, if you know you did the right thing, why are you so concerned about her talking about it? Right. Tala says a comment was deleted. That wasn't me, Tala. If someone deleted your comment, I'm not aware of it. I haven't seen any comments been deleted. Hey, Drew, welcome in. Nice to see you. Tala says, doesn't matter because Jesus Christ is still king. Yeah, I mean, that's the point, right? Ned in the house. Hey, Ned, nice to see you. Uh, blinded at this moment, pretty bad. Just blinded at this moment, pretty bad. I love you. I believe in you. Thanks, Ned. I appreciate that support. That feels like love to me. Monsieur says, love you all. We are one. Straight talker. I don't see any problem with that opinion. I wish I knew what opinion you were talking about. Oh, I missed one from Luke. What are you losing talking about it? What are you losing, Slow? Yeah, Kevin, I agree. I haven't seen anyone's commented deleted either. I don't think any comments have been deleted. Feel free to share your thoughts. Morrison, I would love to speak to anybody to explain what's happening. Right on. Casey, caring is so needed for everyone in this world. I found Tara through Kickin and Kimmy. I don't know what I'd do without y'all, for real. Well, thanks, Casey. I appreciate that. And you are always welcome here. Everybody is. Everybody is welcome here. Yeah, Drew doesn't see. Yeah, mods can see if things have been deleted. Nothing's been deleted. Yes. Okay, Straight Talker. I agree. Love can be unconditional and have boundaries at the same time. Yep. Yeah, if YouTube deleted it, I don't have control over that. Yeah, Come Alive Ministries, I agree. It is revealing. Okay, so Tala think he might not have hit the send button. Yeah, no big deal. I agree. Mm. Straight Talker, what I know about the enemy is he loves to see us turn against one another. Good point, Straight Talker. Okay, so I want to continue on. So, as I said, unconditional love is different than love without boundaries. And the next thing I want to say is I think unconditional love means that I will no longer hold you responsible for the way that I feel. Let that sink in. I will no longer hold you responsible for the way that I feel. To me, that is self love. Artem, chime in on this. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. It's non-conventional. This is probably not something that you've heard before, but my emotions, my experience, what I am focusing on in the moment is not your responsibility. And no matter what it is that you do or do not do, it's my responsibility to be okay. Sometimes I think that means having boundaries if the behavior is inappropriate and immature. Number two, in terms of self love and unconditional love, is that you are not the boss of me. I am the boss of me. My higher power is the boss of me, not you, not anyone. And number three, I really like this one. I really like this. It's I love you so much. I don't care what you think. That's liberating. I love you so much. I don't care what you think. Now, this might sound sassy. It might be taken the wrong way. I don't care because to me, it's self love. To me, it's a relationship with my higher power that nobody can interfere with. I love you so much. I don't care what you think. And this goes back to my first point. I no longer hold you responsible for the way that I feel. You are off the hook. I'm not upset with you. It's about me. And there's power in that. There's freedom in that. There's self-love in that. So, how do we move, or how do we love? How do we love with so much garbage and rejection going on in the world? Let me get through these comments and then I'll share my next thoughts. If you're just coming in, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. We are talking about love. The topic of unconditional love came up. The topic of self-love has come up. So if you're just joining us, please hit that like button if you do like it. If you don't, you can hit the dislike button. No harm, no foul. Let us know who you are. Let us know what you're going through. Let us know what you think about love. What is it? What is it not? Zach in the house. Zach says, hey, bro. Zach, it's so nice to see you. It always is. Anne Marie, I agree with you. Christians who are quick to condemn and criticize is a huge turnoff. Okay, so Kingdom Within says that what he said that he thought got blocked said, the Father will separate the sheeps from the goats, and every knee shall bow and confess that Jesus Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Rebecca says, I'm unclear what you mean about closing portals. Granted, I was born and raised in a cult, so very different than most. This is a serious question as I don't understand what you mean. You know what might have happened? There are certain words I didn't obviously I didn't see any of the words that you put in your message, Tala, that I blocked, but there are certain inappropriate words, you know, four-letter words like F and S that I put on my blocked words list. So that would be the only thing I could think of as to why something would be blocked, but I think we would be able to see it if it was. Anne Marie, like they've missed the point completely. I agree. Come Alive Ministries. It's okay, Tara. Like, also, who says their name wrong? I spelled my name wrong in an email one time. It's okay, Tara. Vicariously, I look at things around me, see things fall into place. To give you an example about self-love. Right on, Come Alive Ministries. Oh, and then later, Come Alive says, self-love is being better than you were, never better than anyone else. Especially not accusing someone of being demented either. It's clear as day with me now. Yes, agreed. Artem, nope, never heard of that before. Not holding people responsible for how you feel. I got to process that for a second. Sit with that, Artem. Let me know what you think about that one. I'm really curious about your perspective. And I just want to go back to saying that just because I'm not going to hold others directly responsible for what they've said or done to me doesn't mean that it's inappropriate for me to put up boundaries, because it absolutely is. And that's something I started looking into in the Bible. Like, what does the Bible say about boundaries exactly? But then I was like, wait a minute. Slow your roll. I'm talking about love right now. So perhaps down the line, we can revisit that topic if it's something that y'all are interested in. But today we are talking about love. Luke, if anyone has a problem, it's their problem. I agree. Self-love is being better than you were, never better than anyone else, especially not accusing someone of being, oh, I read that already. Zach, me is me problem. Absolutely. Nasir, you know that we mirror ourselves. What do you mean by that, Nasir? Maddie, Tony Danza is the boss of all of us. Okay. Zach, but I'm also my solution. Yes, Zach. Yes, I am the only solution that is going to come. Nobody's going to come save me. I can be thrown under a bus, but really only me and my higher power can save me. And that's my choice. Kevin, 25 people, only 15 likes. Please bang that like. Thank you so much, Kevin. I appreciate the support. Israel, when someone says you got demons only because you're speaking the truth, says a lot about that person and how they are feeling personally. That's deep facts. Yeah, Luke, if something upsets me, I need to see in myself why, right? Yeah, Drew, it wasn't Tala that said that. Ben, um, says Rebecca, a portal is what some feel or think is an entry point on this earth for demons. And Rebecca says, oh. Artem, my immediate reaction is if you love someone, they would affect your feelings more than if you didn't. Artem, I don't disagree with you that being in love or loving someone can affect your feelings. Like if they do something, I don't disagree that it can have an effect on you. I absolutely experienced an effect when I got kicked out of the Bible study. It then became my responsibility to work through those emotions. I know that I didn't deserve it. The perspective may be different. Maybe I did something that I'm not aware of that was inappropriate. I don't believe that to be the case. If I did and it was brought to my attention, then I would apologize. I don't believe that's the case in this case. So it became my responsibility to love myself, to practice self love, to be okay with being rejected from a Bible study. So, Artem, I don't disagree with you. I think that when you love someone, your feelings can be affected, but our feelings are our own. And because nobody is the boss of me, I am the boss of me. My higher power is who I report to. It's my responsibility in combination with my higher power to forgive the person or people and to move on. And in some cases, to thank God that it happened now and not later. Kevin, I had a prayer then meditation sesh the other day. I hope to do that more often. Kevin, that is something that you have been wanting to get to for quite some time now. You've been talking about getting back to meditation, and I think it's beautiful that you added prayer to that mix. I am so happy for you, and it sounds like you enjoyed it because you want to do it more often. I want to hear more about that if you do care to share. What was your strategy or technique? How did you meditate, if I can ask? If it's too personal, then I understand. Come Alive Ministries. I've been approached privately, but what I was told, but I was told still had nothing to do with what's been talked about so far. I'm not dancing in the dark with this. Speaking of which, um, I'm gonna I'm gonna read this again. I've been approached privately, but what I was told still had nothing to do with what's been talked about so far. I'm not dancing in the dark with this. Speaking of which, I think I understand what you're saying, Come Alive Ministries, and I really appreciate you being here. Luke, it is true. Love comes with heavy emotions. So, an excellent teacher, but can be overwhelming. Yes, I agree. I agree. True love can be really overwhelming. And you know what? I want to take this opportunity. I think it's a good time to talk about the definition of love. I looked it up and took a screenshot. So let me pull it up here. Okay, so the definition of love. This is according to the American Heritage Dictionary of the English Language, 5th edition. Is number one, a strong feeling of affection and concern toward another person, as that arising from kinship or close friendship. So, family, friends, strong feeling towards a person. That's number one. Number two is a strong feeling of affection and concern for another person accompanied by sexual attraction. So that's that romantic, fiery love we all love. Number three is a feeling of devotion or adoration toward God or a God. So this would be that spiritual love that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Number four is a feeling of kindness or concern by God or a God toward humans. I feel like this is kind of like number three. They're both spiritually related. Number five is charity. I did not expect to see that under the definition of love. Charity, very interesting. I like that. And number seven is my personal favorite because it uses the word in the definition. And I'm joking about it being my favorite, but they're all different, they're all different takes, like different angles of the word love, but uh, an instance of being in love is the definition of love. I don't know why they define the word with the word. I learned that that was not legal. So that is the definition of love. Like I said in the beginning, I've got a couple Bible verses that I pulled as well that I really, really liked. You've probably heard them both, but I hope that it's okay with everyone that I bring a couple Bible verses into it. I just felt like it was super appropriate. And let's see what happened in the comments. Whoa. Yeah, Casey, we all have our own opinions on everything, and that's just life. I agree. Rebecca, I think my purpose in this life is to leave the world a better place than it was when I found it. That could be just smiling at someone as you pass them. I send you all so much love, support, and hugs. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate you including everybody in that. To me, that is love. I really like that, Rebecca. Is very inclusive and unique, especially the part about leaving the world a better place than it was when you found it. I've never heard that discussed when talking about love, and I like it. Monsieur, that we are a magnet. We attract what we are in the wave. We are indeed magnets, Monsieur, scientifically speaking. Our hearts are electromagnetic machines, as are our brains. So you are correct. I understand that you're saying this in a way that goes far beyond our bodies being electromagnetic energy fields. And I appreciate you sharing that. Drew, I think true love is recognizing their faults and shortcomings and also our own, and knowing we aren't perfect, choosing to love them anyhow, and then going out of your way to provide, protect, and serve. Mm, yeah, I agree. The knowing we're not perfect thing, that's I think, for some, it's a really easy thing to do, and for some, it's a very difficult thing to do. I think, just there's certain people, like we were talking about in the comments, how it can be the most challenging to forgive ourselves. And to me, those are the people who are like, we realize that we're not perfect. And it's hard for me to forgive myself at times as well. I'm very aware that I am not perfect, and I never claim to be. I do my best, but I'm not perfect. Um, and then there's some people who are on the opposite end of the spectrum. There's all types of people. Going out of your way to provide, protect, and serve. I like that, Drew. Casey, Rebecca, you're not alone with the cult, but there are so many different cults. You choose what to believe, what you want. I choose Jesus, just me, and I'm far from anything, no judgment. I love that, Casey. I love that. You are in the right place because this is a judgment free zone. And well, I'm trying to make it a judgment free zone. I'm doing the best I can, and I appreciate y'all bearing with me while I kind of figure out how to cultivate that. The intention of this place is that it be inclusive and judgment free and safe. Yeah, and Drew thinks having boundaries is important too. 100%. Demons will try to attach themselves to those that are available. Self-love can be a great defense for the demons, I've felt. I've never heard that, Luke, but I like it. Ned, I don't know what all of this is about, nor do I want to know. There are too many people and too many other people's business as it is, and I have too much yuck to bring it in. Yeah, um, Ned, I appreciate your comment, and it certainly wasn't my intention for things to get icky. Um, Not my intention whatsoever. My intention was to share what I'm going through right now without pointing fingers, without throwing anybody under a bus, just to say that it can be challenging to practice unconditional love uh, when people do or say things that could be perceived as something other than love. Anne-Marie, you should never have to dim your shine for love. I agree, Anne-Marie. I really like that. There have been times where I have thought about dimming my shine or not saying words because I didn't want to hurt someone's feelings. And it's like, well, I didn't say this to hurt them, but I'm not going to censor myself anymore. because I'm tired of doing that. So I agree with you, Anne Marie. I'm done dimming my shine for love. Why do I feel like I'm really behind? Are you talking about in the chat? Are you behind listening to the live stream, or are you behind on household activities, Casey? Artem, Tara, could you give an example of loving someone and not being upset by them? I just think it's very common among people who love each other. If you got kicked out from something, that is not love. Thank you, Artem. I appreciate that comment. And could I give an example of loving someone and not being upset by them? So I don't think that it's normal to not be upset. Um, but I also think, I'm moving to, like, my goal is to actually move to a place where I don't feel upset. I'll be honest, when I got kicked out of the Bible study, I felt some kind of way. And it took a process for me. Like, I had to do things, I had to take care of myself, I had to talk to people about it. It's not appropriate for me to hold that in and not talk about it. Um, so I think I think that not being upset by something like that is not realistic, but I think that because I chose self-love, because I chose to take care of myself, that the collateral damage, if you will, was minimized. Like, for like, I could dwell on that for a while. I could have chosen to throw people under the bus. Um, I could have sat in my own stuff, if you know what I mean, sat in my dirty diaper for a longer period of time than I did. Um, I think as I progress through the journey of self love, as I incorporate more fun activities in my life, I'll be able to minimize that time even further. And Artem, I don't mean that I'm not going to get upset at people. It's human nature to feel some kind of way when you feel rejected. And I certainly felt rejected. I'll be honest. What I mean, though, is that by taking care of myself and prioritizing my well being and taking ownership for the way I feel, that it doesn't matter what other people do, because at the end of the day, I'm the one who's responsible for my well being, for my emotions, and the way I experience the world. So this goes back to boundaries, I think, because I'm not going to allow someone to continue treating me like garbage. If they have a track record of doing so, I'm going to put up a boundary and say enough is enough. Does that make sense, Artem? Did I answer your question? Right, Anne Marie. Love shouldn't make us feel bad about ourselves. I agree. Zach, love is the word we give a specific frequency that is a measurable vibration, detectable in EEG scans. Zach, I love that. I wish, and you're absolutely right. I wish I wish I had one of those machines so I could tell if I was right on with my frequency or if I need to tweak it a little bit. Like, like when you tune a piano or when you tune a guitar, like, do I need to tune, like, do I, like, when I think about love, I actually don't think about love in meditation because it's such a loaded emotion and it brings up a lot of stuff that I don't intend to bring up sometimes, like past relationships and stuff. So I actually focus on appreciation these days. It's one of the highest vibration frequencies aside from love that I'm aware of. And I wish that I had a tuner, like what you're talking about, the EEG. I wish I had a tuner that could tell me if when I focus on appreciation, if I'm doing it right. I know I missed some comments up earlier, y'all, and I do plan on going back to get them. If I missed them, I'm sure that there was some important stuff up there, and I do apologize for skipping over that. I wanted to see what was going on real time, and now I'm lost in the sauce. So I'll do my best to get to all of them. Rebecca, I understand there's no judgment from me. I wish you well and happiness. And I can say from the few interactions I've had with Rebecca that she is absolutely genuine in saying that she wishes you well and happiness, Casey. And I echo that. I also wish you well and happiness. Luke says it's hard to establish strong boundaries with those we feel obligated to love, like co parents or family, but still necessary. Yeah, I agree with you, Luke. It is hard to establish boundaries. And when you've gone so long without doing that, it can really ruffle some feathers and offend. But certainly, that's not ever been my intention to offend with setting boundaries. I do hate seeing you struggle with this. I've been rejected more than most people I know. So my aunts tend to be so over aggressive. Ooh, which means I have to get out my feelers best I can, and I'm learning. I think are you talking about your aunties, like your not your uncles but your aunts? It's tough when you've got family who it's like you can't get rid of your family, you know. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, Ned. Miss Year, we are all students here on this earth to learn. Absolutely, Miss Year. Agreed. Mm. Scott, love without boundaries equals codependency in a training I had taken. Do you agree? I do agree, Scott. I think this is accurate. I can't think of an example where you would have no boundaries in a relationship, romantic or not, and have it not be codependent. Like, if one is so concerned about the other person, the other party in the relationship leaving that they can't even ask for what they need, then to me, that's codependency. So I agree with you, Scott. Artem says loving a person involves caring about their feelings. If a person who love you upsets you, they would feel bad about it and want to make it up to you. I agree, Artem, 100%. I agree. I think it's unfortunate and very sad that some people don't have the capacity to empathize with other people's feelings. That's part of some people's psychology, and it's not that they're not wrong for it. You know, they're just um, we just all have different brains and different psychologies. So I'm trying to keep that in mind too. Um, that we're all different and not everybody has the same perspective as I do or as you do. I agree though. I agree. A lot of people, would want to make it up, but not everybody is that way. So I think like I I would go as far as to say that normal people, normal meaning with respect to the bell curve, right? There's like abnormal behavior, and then there's the curve, and then there's the other extreme of abnormal behavior. Normal is just for those of you who aren't familiar with psychology, um, normal is just underneath that bell curve. A certain area underneath that curve is considered normal, just based on the general population and where most people fit underneath that curve. So not everybody is normal. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a term for it. There's outliers. There's people who don't feel bad if they've hurt someone. Ned says to respect myself as much as I expect for others. It's crazy that this is a lot of what I have been dealing with lately as well. The letter I wrote last night is so in sync with this. Wow, Ned. It's nice to know that I'm not alone. I think you're talking about me, anyways, um, or not me, but like what we're talking about here. It's funny how we sync up with each other. I lost my spot again. Bear with me while I find my spot. I lost it. Drew, there are so many different kinds of love. English language uses the same word for all three. Yeah, Drew, that's exactly what we just saw in the definition of love, is that um, there's different types of love. Mhm. Kevin says, I prayed and asked for clarity on my life um, and thoughts from the meditation. Not sure if I worded that right. Well, Kevin, I just think it's awesome that you are getting back to your meditation practice and that you added prayer in as a part of that. I'm looking forward to hearing how your journey progresses. Zach, like the second definition of love. The second definition was a strong feeling of affection and concern for another person accompanied by sexual attraction. So Zach is digging the relation, or the romantic relationship definition. Ben forgot about the love of cheese. You like cheese, tasty. I do love cheese, Ben, and you know what else I love? Sourdough. So much. Casey, we all have our own opinions on everything, and that's just life. Agreed. Luke says, love comes with grace, and not love for me comes with regret, gut feelings, shame, etc. That's a that's kind of like Brene Brown's perspective on boundaries. Like Brene Brown's perspective is what's okay and what's not okay. And to me, you're saying the same thing. Like love is like with grace, and not love comes with regret. And it's like what's okay and what's not okay. That's interesting. Morrison says, I'm praying for this community. Remember, I never act in this way, and there must be a reason. Nasir, love and desire are also different. Morrison, seek the truth. Nasir, slow mo, right? Nasir, Tara, you know a lot, very well. Well, thank you, Nasir. I appreciate that. Casey, I gotta go. Hope to catch up with y'all soon. Tara, always remember you're doing great. Thanks for everything. And thanks, Kevin. Also hope to talk to y'all soon. Look up bullet journaling if you want. Casey, you're probably long gone by now, but I am gonna jot down bullet journaling. Thank you for the reminder. I also want to say just for a moment that like I am not perfect. I never profess to be perfect. I do my best. I do my best. And I appreciate y'all for being here. Artem, I think a lot of people nowadays use the word love to mean validation. Like if you don't always affirm them, they consider that not love, which feels like BS to me. Yeah, that feels like conditional love, not unconditional love. Um, because unconditional love says that regardless of the condition, I'm choosing to be okay. Whereas conditional love is like, you did this, I'm choosing to be upset and resentful, which I'm pretty sure the Bible has things to say about that. I didn't look that up for the purposes of this stream, but I did look up a couple of verses. And the first one that I'm going to talk about, y'all have heard this, but I'm going to read it because I think it's beautiful. So this is 1 Corinthians 13:4 through 8. This is from the ESV version. It says, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. I love that. I love that. What a beautiful way to describe it. Ben says, yeah, judgment is our default. It's hard to overrule. Heather, love is caring. It builds people up, not break them down when they are vulnerable. Agreed, Heather. I agree with you. Luke, expressing your feelings and seeking alternate options is not judgment. Artem, people who love you would say what they really think, even if you might not like it, because they care about you and they'll care to try to make you feel better about it if it upsets you. Yeah, I have a friend who not long ago, it was several weeks ago, shared something with me that I did not want to hear. But ultimately, I'm glad that she did share it with me because she ended up being right. Again, I didn't like hearing it at the time, but in retrospect, she was right. She's a real friend. Man, I made this tea and hot water and I haven't even drank any of it. Luke says, yeah, at least make an effort to understand the issue and come to an understanding why the misunderstanding is taking place. I think that's a big part of reconciliation, Luke, is to understand the other person's perspective. Um, Not everybody is interested in understanding where the other person is coming from or what the other person's experience is. And I suppose that's their right. I don't think that's a helpful way to exist in the world. But if you don't care about reconciliation, then it makes sense that you wouldn't care about the other person's perspective either. I don't think you took it this way, but when I heard the last comment you read it, I felt as if I could have come across as I was being nasty towards this. If I had any kind of issue, I could just bounce on out of your life. You're handling this in a very mature way that is admirable. I'm learning so much from so many incredible people I've met from the boat meeting. You know what, Ned? I really appreciate your comment, and you're absolutely right. Like, bounce. There's no reason to stay if you don't want to. I think I just joined the boat community. I've caught one live now. It's really big and the comments go really fast. But I like the energy over there. Like, the vibe is generally positive and I appreciate that. I also like how he said I can't remember if it was today or yesterday, but he was saying how, I think it might have been this morning, Tommy was saying how, like, he respects other people's perspectives, but he's not going to allow people to bully other people about their beliefs. And I echo that. I'm not going to allow that either. Kevin, how long ago did this happen, T? Are you doing okay? You just lost a friend to an OD. It seems like you have a lot going on right now, and we all hope you're okay. Kevin, thank you for being so sensitive. I really appreciate that. So I found out about everything on the same day. And I got some additional bad news on the same day, that my housing might not end up going through. I have faith that it's going to. The size of a mustard seed. Well, it's bigger than that. I have more faith than that. But I found out about the overdose last Thursday. I found out about the Bible study on Thursday, and I found out about housing on Thursday. So Thursday was a rocky road for me, but I'm blessed with a strong support system who showed up for me and who continues to show up for me. So I'm okay. I'm doing okay. It's I've had to put in effort to be okay, if that makes sense. Like, um, not, I mean, not a ton of effort. Like, it hasn't been hard to be okay, but truth be told, I have had to work on being okay. That's for sure. I really appreciate you asking about it. That means a lot. Ned says, I read that already. Rebecca uh, says, Ben, I agree. We judge and process things based on our own experiences. It is hard to override the negative in ourselves sometimes, and I continue to work on that in myself. Yeah, Rebecca, that is very insightful of you. And I'm not perfect either. I have never professed to be perfect. If I've ever done anything that has hurt anybody in here, then I would hope that you feel comfortable enough to tell me about it and we could absolutely work toward reconciliation. That would be what my hope would be. Drew, I didn't hear the whole story, Tara, but I probably would have felt hurt getting kicked out of a group like that. That's no way for a Bible study to act. So many churches are doing that, though. Sad. Yet, Drew, I've never heard of that before it happened. Uh, Come Alive Ministries says that it happens a lot. Um, I thought everybody was welcome in Bible studies. Like my therapist said, and my mom, I think, said that even, like Jesus let everybody in. Um, Even the drunkard is allowed in Bible study. Ned said these experiences are positive, valuable, and important. Why on earth other people would rather grasp the yuck is beyond me and sad. They lose out. Well, thank you, Ned. I appreciate that. I know you've been through Rebecca says, Ned, I know you've been through so much. I send you so much love and support. You are an amazing and wonderful human being. I echo that 100%. And I just have to say, Rebecca, that you have so much love to give. And I just have so much respect for that. I think it's a really rare thing to see people just pour out the support. And I strive to be that way as well. Like, I want to give all my support as much as I can, and preserve my sense of self at the same time, which is sometimes a fine balance, you know. But I just appreciate you showing up and offering your support like you do, Rebecca. ABTS, automatic negative thoughts. I'm trying to replace them with APTS, automatic positive thoughts. LOL, the anti-ant. The anti-ant. Yeah, I would love to have automatic positive thoughts. I think with time, Ned, for those of you who don't know, I mistakenly called awake Ned by the looking glass for the first couple times that she came in to the stream. I just thought that it was awake Ned. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe because it's all caps or something. So, anyways, I lovingly call her Ned these days, and she says she likes it. If you didn't like it, Ned, I hope you would feel free to tell me because I would stop it. It can also be unfair to those who I haven't been clear with my boundaries. When I finally decide enough is enough and try to work on that, it like now, it is harder still due to my responsibility. It is hard, especially if you're not used to communicating boundaries. It does take a lot of strength and courage to step up and speak them, and sometimes people don't like them. Yes, true, empathy. It's not something that everybody has the capacity for. Someone being upset doesn't bring my boundaries down, though. Luke, I agree with you. I agree with you. Ben says so true to Ned. Kevin said, Casey, if you're still here, have you tried methadone? If you're on subs and you keep relapsing, maybe methadone would be a better fit for you for where you're currently at. I know Gonzo said subs weren't enough for him, and he said he feels much better on methadone. Maybe look into it. I think that's a really wise that's really wise feedback. Kevin and Casey, if you can hear this right now, I echo what Kevin just said. It might be worth talking to your medical health care provider about methadone. This is not medical health advice. I'm certainly not a medical health professional, but I don't want to see you go out that way too, Casey. I like having you around here. Your presence is valued, and you've got a lot of people in your life who love you and want you to stick around. Anti-ant. Love that. Okay, yeah, okay. Oh, now it makes sense. The comment about the ant earlier, automatic negative thoughts. Okay, the anti-ant. Okay, I get it now. The is you want to replace it with apt, but not an apartment. Although I do want a new apartment and hopefully I get one this week. There's a chance I might not, but there's a chance I will. Ned says, guys, I have been called out, must go for now. But tarasmiling, you are a bright example of what a strong, sincere young woman should be. I have no doubt you will do nothing but grow stronger and wise. Well, Ned, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. I appreciate you coming in. I hope you have a great night, and I hope to see you soon. Luke, as we establish boundaries, love comes into a clearer focus. That's deep too. Luke and Artem going deep with their comments. That's an interesting one. Because certainly ever since I've expressed boundaries in multiple areas of my life, some people have respected them and our relationship has grown and become stronger, and other people have disappeared or created issues that I wasn't aware existed. So if you are thinking about setting boundaries and haven't, beware that they could be taken the wrong way, misunderstood, disrespected. And I think that's where self-love comes into play, remembering that it's okay to have boundaries. It's healthy, as a matter of fact. And I forget who it was that said, um, who was it that made that comment about codependency? Was it Artem that made the comment about, do you think love without boundaries is codependency? I think that was the comment. Luke, fast track to lose friends that don't belong in your life. Sad but true, I think, Luke. Miss Sear, cheers. Cheers, friend. Cheers. It's just water. Miss Heather, I like The Book of Love by Peter Gabriel. Is that a song, Heather? Because Peter Gabriel's an artist, right? Sorry, I feel like I just dated myself. Maddie, how the heck does somebody get kicked out of a Bible study? That's what I want to know, Maddie. Luke, 1 per ant. Luke, 1 per automatic negative thought. Mo, I drew a boundary in the Bible study. Tara is welcome back when she wants to seek Jesus Christ. I think I'll respectfully pass on that, even though I am seeking Jesus Christ, Mo. Luke, it is important for me to say what I feel in the moment rather than let it fester and possibly build up to an overreaction to something I should have expressed as a trigger for me. I need to read that comment again. Luke says, it is important for me to say what I feel in the moment rather than let it fester and possibly build up to an overreaction to something I should have expressed as a trigger for me. Okay, I think what you're saying, Luke, is that communication is really important. If you care about somebody, if you love someone or are professing to be a lover, then talking with somebody about it before having a blow up is the way to go. And I would tend to agree. Have I always done that in practice? No, but if I could be my ideal self, would I do that? 100%. I would 100% do that, and I appreciate when people come to me first also if there's some sort of misunderstanding. Luke, fast track to lose friends that don't belong in your life. Right. Yeah. Did I read that comment already? I think I might have glanced at it because I saw it come through. Um, yeah, I agree. Artem, I don't think I've ever had people wanting to be a part of my life so much that I had to set boundaries. LOL. I don't get much love. I set boundaries at work though. Well, that's a good thing, Artem. There's a lot of love here for you. I hope that you feel that. Um, I think it's really wonderful getting to know you. And I also think it's great that you have the confidence to put down boundaries at your workplace. That's a really important place to have them. I have in the past not put down boundaries at work and have been worked like a slave, quite literally. So I'm hoping to emulate that quality that you have as I integrate myself back into a normal workforce and get out of the gig work industry and transition back into like a normal job with a boss again. I hope that I can do the same as you and have boundaries. I think that, and that goes back to self love, like, um, I mean, at work, we have to have a boss, right? But like ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, he's not even the boss of me. I know who my next boss is going to be, by the way. They already offered me a job and I accepted it, and he's awesome. I really, really respect him, and he respects me, and I appreciate that. Even he, though, as my boss at work, is not the boss of me. Yeah, I am my own agency and I report to my higher power, which I choose to call my higher power for the sake of this conversation. Um, so yeah, I think going back to your comment, Artem, setting boundaries at work, I think is a fantastic quality. Then it's always much easier for me to let go if they are, wait a minute. It's always much easier for me to let things go if they're mad at me, but seeing them leveled at others makes it so hard. Do you mean Ben, when you see other people being treated unjustly or inhumanely, that it gets your blood boiling? Because I can relate to that. Look, we shouldn't be mad about something we haven't expressed is not acceptable. Yeah, at least a warning or something would be nice. Luke, I can't watch someone being disrespected and not say something if possible. Well, that's a very noble quality of you, Luke. Um, Have a lot of respect for that. Heather, love is not reacting, but pausing to process and then take action. That's profound, Heather. I need to get better at pausing when agitated, to borrow that old adage from Alcoholics Anonymous. Pause when agitated. I could be better about that, I think. Rebecca Art says, proudly ignorant, or AKA Artem, please know you are loved. We are glad you are here, and I send you lots of love, support, and hugs. Yes, Rebecca Artem, you are loved here. I echo that. I am one of your biggest fans around here. I'm so glad that you have been showing up regularly, and I do hope that you continue to. I know everybody has lives and not everybody can make it all the time, but I love seeing you here, and I just want to celebrate you. Rebecca, congratulations on the new job slash boss. Yeah, I am nervous. I haven't had a boss in quite some time since I was exploited for labor, but I am looking forward to working for this boss in particular because I've been volunteering for this agency and this person for a year now, and it's gone really well. There's a rapport developed there already. He knows about my history. He's very respectful of it, very thoughtful about the words that he uses and the tone of his voice and all of that. So I think it's going to work out really nicely. And I think the work that I'm going to be doing is going to be super fun and fulfilling as well. Thanks, Rebecca. Ben, another retracted comment. I wish I could see what your comments are, Ben, but probably just a typo or something. Artem says bad managers seem to really like to be disrespectful of boundaries. They have so much power over you. It gets extremely frustrating. Your livelihood is on the line if you stand up for yourself. Yeah, I've had a few of those. I've had some really great managers also, but I've had some horrible bosses, absolutely, that have crossed lines and that I was not trained or educated on how to deal with them. And I just got worked into the ground. But I think I've grown quite a bit since then. And I think knowing who you're getting ready to work for is also something that is not talked about very often. I never thought about getting to know your boss or like wanting to meet them before working for them, but I feel blessed, truly blessed that I'm going to be working for somebody that I've been happily volunteering for a year now. Uh-oh, Ben, maybe his comment was about being triggered. Ben, I hope you're okay. Ben says, exactly what I mean. I am a little triggered. I didn't think things could trigger me anymore. I get ticked at seeing others made the brunt of gaslighting and manipulation. Absolutely. Ben, I agree with you 100%. And I'm sometimes not as quick as I would like to realize that I'm being gaslit, but it's not okay. And I call it out these days. So I appreciate you saying that. Heather, I'm still a student of boundaries in life. Aren't we all, Heather? Come Alive Ministries, it was disappointing to see something surface here that should have been left alone. I did a video on 5 things Christians need to stop doing. It's also my trailer. Well, that's interesting, Come Alive Ministries. Making a note of that. Artem, thanks, Tara. You betcha. You'll never catch a fly using vinegar. Ben, oh, I don't mean triggered. I mean ticked. Uh, that's what I thought you meant. My typing is bad enough with my fat fingers. It would help if I sit up, but I'm lazy. Anywho, when I get angry, my typos go way up. Probably all of us can relate to that if we feel triggered or we're typing fast and furious, the typos go way up. Tala says prayers. Anne Marie, I'd rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned, said Carl Sagan. That's deep, Anne Marie. I'd rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. Hmm. Maddie, Tara, I will never reject you unless you no longer have nice toenails, and then you're out of here. Just kidding. I was just checking out my toenails earlier today, thinking, oh, it's about time. I could go another couple days, but I need to show my feet some love for sure. I did show them some love after I got out of the shower today. I always show them love. Rebecca says, Ben, I agree. I get angry when I see others getting needlessly hurt or gaslit. Hugs. Luke says, speak your mind. Loving people want to learn. And Artem says, Ben, I feel ya. Isn't it frustrating when the most manipulative people try to gaslight other people by calling them manipulative? Pretty frustrating stuff. Yeah. I appreciate y'all's support. Thank you. Ben, you are such a caring person. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that before. Oh, said to Rebecca. I was like, what did I say that was caring? He's saying, Rebecca, you are such a caring person. I'm sorry I didn't tell you that before. Yes, and I echo that, Rebecca. You are such a caring person, and you are always welcome here. Everyone is always welcome here. Rebecca says, Anne Marie, I love that. Thanks for sharing. And Anne Marie says, I must credit my husband. Well, that's very sweet. That's very thoughtful of you, Anne Marie. Ben says, Artem, yeah, I am glad Tara is more responsible than I am. I can tell I want to start a flame war, but if Tara can let go, so can I. I'm doing my best, Ben. I'm not perfect, and I wish that I could have been a little more graceful in all of this. I'm not perfect either. I definitely felt my blood boil a little bit during this stream, but um, hopefully, like, hopefully I get, hopefully my skin continues to grow in thickness and things like this won't bother me anymore. I actually asked a fellow streamer, he's got a way bigger audience than I do. I asked if he had experienced anything like what I'm going through right now. And he said yes, that it comes with the territory. So I hope this is the last time, but it's also in a way a rite of passage, if you will. I guess it just matters about perspective, like, did I learn from it? Yep. Did I grow from it? Yep. Am I going to approach situations and people differently moving forward? Absolutely. Tala says, if anyone wants the full story on the Bible study, feel free to come to the Kingdom Within Discord and genuine group discussion. But if not, then I know where you stand. So y'all have an invite to get the inside scoop on what happened with the Bible study. Rebecca, Tara, you are such a wonderful and caring person too. Well, thank you, Rebecca. So are you. Well, so are you. We could do this all night. We could go back and forth all night. Luke, it's hard not to laugh at blatant disrespect and hypocritism. Am I saying that right? Hypocritism. Hypocritism. I think I'm saying that right. Artem, nope, I don't care. Tala, nope, I don't care for the full story. Come Alive Ministries, life goes on, so why chase the wind? Heather, I don't feel comfortable with ultimatums. Tala, please. Heather, I appreciate you speaking your concern here. I'm sorry that you feel uncomfortable. Um, I hope that things will calm down here soon. Anne Marie Bliss, Artem, you really only need to know how you feel here in this chat. I personally feel support and love. Oh, thanks, Anne Marie Bliss. I'm glad that you feel that way. Tala says, at the end of the day, Satan is very sly and deceitful. So y'all who claim to be Christian better be careful. Well, thanks for sharing that, Tala. I respect your perspective. Luke wants to know if Kingdom Within is threatening me. Yeah, so I agree, Artem. Let's get back to talking about love. Thank you for that segue, Artem. I do have another Bible verse that I found. I'm not sure if this is the best time, but it was the next thing on my list. So um, I really like this one. It popped out at me. 1 John 4:7-8. It says, Beloved, let us love one another, for love is from God. And whoever loves has been born of God and knows God. Anyone who does not love does not know God, because God is love. I think Luke was joking. He retracted that comment. Okay. Rebecca, I agree. Let's go back to love, caring, and kindness to others. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing it back, everyone. I appreciate that. And if you're just joining, it has been an eventful live stream this evening. We are talking about love, and the topic of unconditional love has come up. Love without boundaries compared to love with boundaries and its relationship to codependency. We have read the definition of love. A few Bible verses have been incorporated into the mix. And there is a lot of love and support here in the chat. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, stick around. Let us know who you are. Let us know what you think about love. I'm very curious to hear what your take is on love. And if you've been in here the whole time and you want to comment on anything you thought that was particularly interesting, um, or if your perspective has changed at all, I would be really interested in hearing about that. Or if you have any additional things to add. We've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes already, which I cannot believe it has flown by. And let me just check my list here because I think, oh, you know what? I still have that article. Do y'all want to hear that article I um, highlighted or not highlighted? Okay, I see some hearts coming through. I picked out a couple parts of that. It's like what love is and what love isn't. And I thought the what love isn't part was really profound. Ben, I've had to count to 10 multiple times. Tala says the fact that I decided to take this to the public instead of responding to slow mo personally isn't love. So Tala, I didn't bring slow mo into the mix. I just, as a matter of fact, said that I got kicked out of a Bible study, and then slow mo outed himself, and um, I didn't respond to slow mo because I don't think that being kicked out of a Bible study for no alleged reason other than y'all made a judgment on my heart, I don't think that deserves a response. Yeah, Heather, I echo that. I'm going to go ahead and agree with what Heather said here. And Slomo and Tala, you're absolutely entitled to your opinions, but your blatant disrespect is not only making people in this community uncomfortable, it's making me uncomfortable. So if you'd like to continue the conversation over on your own platform, please feel free. If you'd like to contribute to this conversation and talk about what love is, then you're welcome to do so. Tala, I didn't say his name. He said his own name. I never outed anybody. You can go back and watch the replay. I agree, Rebecca. You two should please stop. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm asking you to please stop. I agree with Rebecca. I'm sharing my feelings, and you're just making yourselves look bad. So it does look judgmental and unloving. I agree with you 100%, Rebecca. Let's keep the group kind, loving, and caring. That is what love is. Thanks, Rebecca. Nasir needs love to be loved. Heather, you've had some great things to say tonight. Thanks for being positive. Ben's counting again. Maddie wants to know, Anne Marie, what's happening with Olga? Yeah, I want to know also, Anne Marie, what is happening with Olga? Come Alive Ministries, I am also surprised. Anne Marie says, I wish I had news. I'll let you know Wednesday. Rachel, I am doing my best to keep it together. We've been going for 2.5 hours, and I was thinking of closing with an article that I found on Psychology Today. Not sure if everybody's in the mood to hear it, but I thought it was interesting. Thanks for asking, Rach. I appreciate you. Yeah, Luke says this is a great example of where I need work. Triggered as well. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And I don't expect anybody to be. Anne Marie says, Matt, I wish I had some kind of fantastic story. Sadly, no. Well, Anne Marie, we are looking forward to hearing what happens in the next chapter of I'm trying to think of a clever name. Um, I can't think of a clever name right now. I'm too shook up. Like the Olga Polka. Is that too silly? Oh wow, Anne Marie. Maddie says, Anne Marie, my dad turned 89 the other day. Happy birthday to your dad, Maddie. Rebecca, are you okay, Tara? Y'all, I'm doing my best to be okay. Like it's been one heck of a week. Uh, I have we're all dealing with a lot, right? I know I'm not alone in dealing with a lot. I'm doing my best to be okay. I've done a lot of work this week to be okay and to take care of myself. And I, I don't know that I would say I'm okay right now, but I'm doing the best I can. Like I appreciate you asking, everyone who's asked and who cares. And I'm doing the best I can. If you're just joining, welcome. If you're wondering what the heck we're talking about, feel free to go back and watch the restream, read the comments. It's been a pretty eventful stream. And we've been talking about love, ironically enough, unconditional love, love with and without boundaries, and what that means with respect to codependency, how it can be challenging for people to accept boundaries if there hasn't been any in place for a period of time or ever. Um, I'm going to go back and get to these comments, and I think I will close out with reading that article because it's nice. And if y'all are interested, you can feel free to stick around. Ben wants to know if I'm okay too. Thanks, Ben. Anne Marie, that's a really thoughtful question. I'd love to hear what kinds of things you've incorporated to help your dad feel connected. Tala says Artem. Artem says Mo and Tala, I don't even believe you guys anymore. How do such religiously devout people resort to being so mean? Ben, the Olga Polka. Did you like that, Ben? Drew, I'm really surprised by this. As Tara, Slow, and Taller are all my friends, and I honestly didn't know who she was talking about. Yeah, Drew, I would have never revealed identities. That was not my intention. Rebecca, honestly, I've been triggered too. This is why I avoid organized religion. It feels like, in an attempt to keep out goats, some people choose to keep out sheep too. That's a really thoughtful comment, Rebecca. And I really appreciate you sticking around tonight. Everybody who has expressed that you have been triggered, that was not my intention with a stream like What is Love. I apologize that y'all had to be subjected to the comments that came up. I don't even know how to talk about it. I can't even believe I'm having to say this on a stream like What is Love, but the reality is that none of us are perfect. I'm certainly not perfect, and I'm doing my best to forgive and move on. And I thought Carol did a stream about forgiveness the other day, and I was struggling with the shock of what had happened. And I think it could be worth doing a stream about forgiveness. I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best that I can. And again, Rebecca, I appreciate you for sticking around, even though you felt triggered. Ben expressed that you felt triggered. Um, Artem, I appreciate your questions. Right. Come Alive Ministries, I appreciate your comment. Um, I agree. Maddie, overdose? What? Separate topic, Maddie. So, a friend of mine passed last week. He was someone who lived in my building, saw him every day. I keep looking out my window for him because I used to see him smoking out cigarettes outside my window every day. And he was one of the neighbors that really cared and asked, how my ketamine treatment was going, and where, how was the store when I would come back with groceries. He'd open the door for me. Very respectful, very kind man that we lost last week due to a fentanyl overdose. I think self love involves taking care of ourselves. And since we're talking about love, and it's like, okay, how does this overdose connect to love? I would say that self love ties into this topic of losing a friend last week, because I just wish that it's like, I can't change what happened, right? And like, we can't change what other people do, the choices that other people make, but if we could all just love ourselves enough, I think the addiction would go away. You know, I think a little bit of self love goes a long way. Rebecca, I need to go. I send so much love and support and hugs to those who want it. Thanks, Rebecca. You're probably gone, but I appreciate your presence here tonight. And I hope to see you around sometime soon. Anne Marie is upset by hypocrisy. Ben, I appreciate your comment. I agree. I think, gentlemen, respectfully, perhaps you should have this conversation elsewhere. And Ben says, not these idiotic passive aggressive games here. I echo that. Yeah, Heather, love does not keep track, attack, and project. Maddie, everyone is welcome in Bible study except for Hitler and Polly Shore. What did Polly Shore do? I mean, I, I don't know that it's like, people want to know what I did. And it's like, first of all, I don't think that any, I mean, aside from like murder or something, I mean, which I'm certainly not that. Um, if y'all are interested in hearing the full story from the other side, I encourage you to go hear Tala and Slow Mo out and see what they have to say. I would be interested in hearing if it was ever communicated to me. I appreciate all the support. And Tala and Slow Mo, I send a lot of love your way as well. Artem, forgiveness is a great topic, big part of love. Yeah, I mean, we can't have a loving relationship and never have some sort of argument or something come up that deserves or needs reconciliation. So I've heard some people say like if you truly have self-love dialed in, that you don't ever need to forgive because you're so wrapped up with enjoying life and not caring what other people think, like the whole I love you so much I don't care what you think piece, that forgiveness is a moot point. I've heard that talked about. But I think forgiveness is a different topic, and we have been going for 2 hours and 38 minutes. My voice is starting to feel a little, what's the word I'm looking for, a little rough. So we'll probably think about winding down or landing the plane here, winding things down pretty soon. But I do want to get through the comments, and I realized that I skipped some of the comments. I'm going to hope that my voice lasts and see if I can find those, but they might be lost at this point. Thank you, Come Alive Ministries. I appreciate that very much. Uh, Come Alive Ministries said, I'll definitely defend a woman who never cast one spell. Now they want to hit me up in private for standing up for a woman who shows awesome integrity. That's a high compliment, Come Alive Ministries. I appreciate that comment. Ooh, Ben likes Artem's name. Loves the title. Great stuff. Yeah, it's really clever, Artem. Seriously, Artem says, seriously, I think leniency is the primary component of kindness. I do believe in radically forgiving, even towards the worst people in the world. Yeah, I agree with you, Artem. I wish I could do it immediately instead of like having it take a few days. I'm working on it. Maddie, awake Ned has a brother named Asleep Ted. that's that's really funny, Maddie. Come Alive Ministries, look, I gotta go throw some garbage in the bin. You stay blessed. Thanks, Come Alive. It's always nice to see you around, and I hope to see you soon. Artem says, thanks. I really mean it. I'm proud of admitting to how little I know. I love uncertainty. That's a strength, Artem, if I ever heard one before. Your perspective is a strength. Ben was going to say it's a more fitting name for me. Proudly, Artem's screen name is Proudly Ignorant. And Ben likes it. He wants to take it. Heather wants to know, have you read the book? It's really interesting. Luke, self-love has helped with the addiction and need for substances, but still have trouble staying no in the moment. So I can stay clean alone, but I have minor disappointment when I hang out. Luke, this was a huge challenge for me in my earliest days of sobriety recovery. I still haven't engaged with certain activities because I've been focusing on protecting my recovery. And in the beginning, you know, I avoided people that I love because I didn't want to put myself in tempting situations. So I understand. I get it. Like when we hang out with people who are engaging in substance use, we set ourselves up for substance use. And what has worked for me is creating distance and saying, I love you. We can talk on the phone, but I cannot hang out with you, friend. Not now. I'm approaching 3 years. On April 2nd, it will be 3 years since I have engaged in substance misuse. And I'm starting to think that I could see certain people if, as long as I know they're going to be respectful of my recovery and not use in front of me. Like that's a non-negotiable. I can't be around substance use. I've been around drinking, but I've also had people there who knew about my recovery and who also abstained from drinking. So that really helped. And that only happened one time. I haven't really put myself in those types of situations since I've been in recovery. Luke, I'm looking forward to hearing how your journey progresses, and um, just know that you have so much support here. Tonight was a little odd in that we had some unfortunate things happen in the comments, and I apologize to anybody that made uncomfortable. Hopefully, we don't have to continue dealing with this as we move forward. Yeah, Tala, I agree. At the end of the day, love wins. So let's try to forgive each other and spread the love. 100%. Yeah, Artem, I was wondering the same thing. What book? Miss Heather? Ben missed the comment about Pauly Shore. That was a funny one. Oh, radical forgiveness. Oh, I thought, okay, so it's not a song, it's a book. Radical forgiveness. I'm writing that down. Artem, Heather, I rarely read books anymore. I believe in radical forgiveness from a determinist perspective. I don't believe in free will. Hmm. I've never heard you talk about that, Artem. Very interesting. So Artem says, so I think nobody really deserves punishment. I think the prison system should be about confinement, but not punishment. Hmm. I would be interested in hearing more about that sometime, Artem. Yeah, Heather wants to know what a determinist perspective is as well. I'm also curious. Luke, I want to see it as a test of my strength to say no, but yet to pass twice in a row. Artem says it means that you believe everything is predetermined and our decisions are but outcomes of processes. Robert Sapolsky is my favorite philosopher on this matter, but I was originally influenced by Sam Harris. Aw, Luke, super grateful to have found this space. Even after what, even after all the activity tonight, Luke, I thank you. Thank you. That makes me really happy that you feel that way. And I'm so glad you found us. Maddie, I hope I'm loved here, at least by Tara. Actually, I hope I'm Tara's favorite. I think I am, let's be honest. Maddie, your presence here is 100% appreciated. I love seeing you pop in here. Loyal Tangi just popped in. Hey, Loyal Tangi, nice to see you. Okay, so Luke has a different opinion. Luke says, I live by free will. I always have a choice to prove to myself how I know I should act. And then Artem says, Alex O'Connor just interviewed Robert Sapolsky literally yesterday. My two favorite philosophy gurus on the internet together in the same video. I recommend. And Anne Marie says, Artem, I added that video to my queue. Right on. Okay, so if y'all are interested, let me know if when I switch over, I think you will still be able to see me. Let me know in the chat if you can still see me, or like, are we still on right now? Yes or no? Okay, I'm not sure. Yes. Okay, Heather says yes. Awesome. So I am going to read parts of this article as we land the plane here. So, on the topic of what is love, this is an article from Psychology Today, and I'm going to read just parts of it, not the whole thing. So this article says, love is a force of nature. However much we may want to, we cannot command, demand, or take away love any more than we can command the moon and the stars and the wind and the rain to come and go according to our whims. We may have some limited ability to change the weather, but we do so at the risk of upsetting an ecological balance we don't fully understand. Similarly, we can stage a seduction or mount a courtship, but the result is more likely to be infatuation or two illusions dancing together than love. Love is bigger than you are. You can invite love, but you cannot dictate how, when, and where love expresses itself. You can choose to surrender to love or not, but in the end, love strikes like lightning, unpredictable and irrefutable. You can even find yourself loving people you don't like at all. Love does not come with conditions, stipulations, addenda, or codes. Like the sun, love radiates independently of our fears and desires. And then later on, I'll link this in the description so that if you want to read the whole thing, you can feel free. I like later on in the article, the end, I'm just going to read the end. It talks about what love is not. So it says, love cannot be turned on as a reward. It cannot be turned off as a punishment. Only something else pretending to be love can be used as a lure, as a hook for a bait and switch, imitated, insinuated, but the real deal can never be delivered if it doesn't spring freely from the heart. This doesn't mean that love allows destructive and abusive behaviors to go unchecked. Love speaks out for justice and protests when harm is being done. Love points out the consequences of hurting oneself or others. Love allows room for anger, grief, or pain to be expressed and released. But love does not threaten to withhold itself if it doesn't get what it wants. Love does not say directly or indirectly, if you are a bad boy, mommy won't love you anymore. Love does not say, daddy's little girl doesn't do that. Love does not say, if you want to be loved, you must be nice, or do what I want, or never love anyone else, or promise you'll never leave me. Love cares what becomes of you because love knows that we all are interconnected. Love is inherently compassionate and empathetic. Love knows that the other is also oneself. This is the true nature of love, and love itself cannot be manipulated or restrained. Love honors the sovereignty of each soul. Love is its own law. So, I don't know what y'all thought about that. I liked that. That's why I shared it. Ben, Artem, you're making my wee noggin hurt. Maddie, it's really a disgusting tragedy that Tara was exploited for labor. That said, I would like to be her love slave 7 days a week and no paid time off except for 1 week of vacation, also 401k. That's a fair ask, Maddie. Thanks, Anne-Marie. I appreciate, and Ben let me know that, and Heather all let me know that you could still see me. Thank you. I'm figuring this whole live stream thing out. It's been a wild ride so far. Ben, no dental? Oh, Maddie definitely wants dental, and he deserves it too. Artem, I'd love to rewind and re-listen to that. Sounded deep. I agree. That's why I liked it so much. I've also thought it was very well written. Love is a loaded word. English is a hard language to word clearly. Yep. So powerful. All languages are like that, Luke. They languages suck. They're never enough words. And I think Artem, you would know. How many languages do you speak, Artem? Words is hard, says Ben. You know what? I just realized that I did miss a bunch of comments up in the top. I'm gonna see if I can find them. I think it's gonna be kind of hard. I want to give y'all. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find them. I should have written down the time. If y'all have comments that I did not get to, or something that you were just, what's the word? A burning desire. If y'all have a burning desire, something that you typed up in the comments that I did not get to, and I just realized that I've had the filter on top chat and not live chat. So I'm going to switch it to live chat. There were probably things that I didn't see because YouTube automatically filters the chat as top messages, and I have to manually switch it to live chat. And I had to skip over some comments because things started getting wild and I wanted to see what was happening live. So, like I said, if you have any burning desires, please feel free to type them out now as we wind things down. I want to re-highlight something that really resonates with me, something that has helped me quite a bit. Okay, Artem says only Russian and English. English is my second language. I could have guessed that English was your second language, Artem. You speak it very well. You're clearly like it's like it's your first language. You just have an accent, uh, a very nice accent. Russian, okay, Russian, right, right. And they both suck. I want to learn Punjabi someday. Punjabi sounds cool. Right on. I know un poco español, pero estoy aprendiendo. I know a little bit of Spanish, but I'm learning. I definitely am not fluent in Espanol, but I aspire to be. That's I know the most Spanish. Like I don't know a lot. I couldn't have a conversation in any other language than Spanish, but I know enough to get by in Mexico con español. I've gotten out of some pretty hot water, which is conversation for another time. My wild, crazy adventures in Mexico when I lived in my car. Well, oh, I said I was going to tell you, I wanted to re-highlight as I give y'all a chance to make any last comments. It's like speak now or forever hold your peace until Wednesday. If you want to join us again on Wednesday, if anybody cares to join after tonight, I will just be shocked. But it would be great to see y'all back here. And if you've been here the whole time and you saw that stuff go down, or if you're just joining us, I'm so glad that you were here tonight. I'm glad that I wasn't alone in here tonight. I couldn't have done it without you. We're about to hit the 3-hour mark, and there's no way that I could have done that without you. So thank you for showing up and for sharing your evening with me. I know some of you, it's like getting to be bedtime or past bedtime. So thanks for staying up. My favorite thing that I shared tonight, that like from the research that I did leading up to this stream, which it's like, man, I couldn't have ever prepared for this stream. And if you were here for it, you know what I'm talking about. My favorite thing is, and Artem, I know it would be interesting to hear your thoughts on this now, but The whole, I no longer hold you responsible for what I think. And is that love? I personally think that that is self-love at its finest. And based on everything that happened tonight, I really want to practice this. I'm responsible for my emotions. And I think with that kind of perspective, we're untouchable and protected. Artem, this was an amazing stream, Tara. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone that was here. Yes, Artem, it was my pleasure, I think. Thank you, Tara, and the chat people. Yes, Nasir, absolutely. Thank you for sticking around. Yeah, Kicking Addiction, if you're still here, I echo that. It was really nice to have you here. You might be listening or you might be watching the restream. It's always nice to have your company here, Kevin. Tara or Heather says, Tara, I'm so glad I stayed. Thank you. I learned a lot about love and boundaries. Right on, y'all. Right on. Well, thanks again for coming in tonight for what is probably the most loaded, eventful live stream I have ever seen of my own. I will never forget this one. I will never forget the topic. I will never forget what happened. I will never forget who stood up and said, stop it. So thank you. It has been a pleasure speaking with you as always. I will be live on Wednesday. I know it's kind of weird with the start time because Kevin over at Kickin' Addiction goes live at 2:00 Pacific Standard Time, and I piggyback on him. I follow his stream up. So if he ends at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, I go on at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time. And if he ends at 5:00, I go on at 5:00, all Pacific Standard Time. It's usually sometime between 4 and 5 that I go on. Sometimes it's later, like 5:30 or 6, but I moderate for him and I never quite know what time he's going to end. It's just he rides waves too. And so if he's on the wave, he's going with it. And then I'll pick up after him. So I will be here on Wednesday. And then the following Monday, I'll be here as well. So if you have, and that's at 4:15 Pacific Standard Time. I show up at 4:15 every week Pacific Standard Time, and I'm happy to do it. So if you've got ideas for what you want to talk about next Monday, the topic might be forgiveness. If there's interest on Wednesday, we'll just have to see where the wind blows us. But I'm really enjoying navigating topics and hearing what y'all's like wants are, like that's how this topic was born. It was born from y'all. So I couldn't do it without you. I appreciate you being here and I want to hear what you want to talk about. So if you're available and if you're interested in hanging out on Wednesday night, I will be here again. The time is TBD based on what time Kevin ends his stream. Dr. Crispy, sorry I missed most. Well, if you want to see a wild, eventful live stream with respect to the chat, I would recommend the replay on this one, although you might want to skip it. That's up to you. It's choose your own adventure, Dr. Crispy, but it's nice to see you back here, and I hope to see you around soon. Yeah, right, Artem. I feel like we just barely started talking about love. This could be a two-parter. This could be something that we talk about at a later time, like on Wednesday, for example. We'll just have to see what the vibe is, and if people are still wanting to talk about love, or maybe people don't want to talk about love because it's February 14th. let's see what happens. If you've got other topics that you might want to talk about, come on Wednesday and pitch them at the beginning, because Wednesdays I tend to be improv and I take key points from Kevin's live stream and incorporate them into mine. Uh, I'd also be open to hearing what you want to talk about and having it be, having you choose the topic. So we'll just see. I like it having it be kind of up in the air on Wednesdays. Right. Okay, so again, it has been a pleasure speaking with you as always as we sign off here. I love you all so much. You're all welcome here. I'm happy that we were able to calm things down toward the end of the stream. I really do love you all so very much. And I hope to talk with you soon.